On this week's Tuesday Talk, we are answering a question from a viewer about what are our favorite books that we would recommend. So we're going to just do nonfiction because we've discussed fictional, what we like in fiction, in terms of fiction in past Tuesday Talks. Mm-hmm. Books we would both recommend that we've both read include The Magic of Thinking Big.
Oh, yes.
Which is a book that was written in the 60s or 70s or something. It's been a while. And has some pretty outdated, hilarious,
all the salaries
sexist
are hilarious
stories. But the ideas and the concepts in this book are great. And
principles still apply.
Yes, and they are really good reminders in terms of life and going for what you want to go for, right?
Yeah, almost like an inspirational book, but not quite that cheesy.
Yeah.
It's a little better than that.
Yeah, though the stories are hilarious. And the other one we would both recommend would be Your Money or Your Life, which is a financial book.
By Vicki Robin. She just published a new version to her previous.
Yes.
Which in the financial community is like the book that
like
everybody loves and recommends.
Yeah.
It was good. I happen to prefer another one. Is that on the list?
Yes, go ahead. The Millionaire Next Door.
The Millionaire Next Door is the other book that I actually preferred because it teaches you that millionaires are walking around among us. They're not necessarily driving Ferraris and Porsches and
that's what made them a millionaire.
Or wearing $2,500 suits. They're just regular people, and you would have no idea that they're millionaires. And that, especially when we first started in this whole financial freedom thing, that really opened my mind in terms of the reality of
life and
really
money.
Yeah, and the accumulation of wealth.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily see it, but it's there.
So those are two good financial orientated books. Two of my favorite that I actually have and keep in the Airstream are Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Actually, anything by Brene Brown I absolutely adore, and it's all about getting out there and being vulnerable and attempting and stepping into the arena as Roosevelt.
Getting out of your comfort zone?
Yes. And not listening to the critics and everything like that. So
ignore the hate.
That's a good one. And then I also really like the Not So Big Life, which is, I think, by Susan Soreka or something like that. She's an architect, and she originally started by like creating homes for people that were exactly the right what they needed. Like they didn't need the giant home, they needed like what actually was necessary for their lives. And then she kind of took that and was like, well, once you're figuring out what's necessary for your lives, you can kind of design your life in the same way. And it's an interesting concept, and since we live in a not so big house, reading a Not So Big Life is a good correlation with that.
It is.
So those are some of our favorite books. If you have a favorite nonfiction book that you would like to recommend to us, please leave it in the comments below and we'll check it out because we're always looking for new things to read and learn from. And
Even me.
Yeah.
Even me.
And if you have a question for a future Tuesday Talk, we'd also love to hear that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.